Absolutely not. I have a deputy, that's Damon Bossino, and Damon Bossino will continue to be my deputy after the next election, win or lose.
So you're confident that Mr Bossino will be in the GSD's lineup at the next election?
Well, a couple of months ago he told me that his intention was that he's going to be standing, and I don't see any reason why he's going to be changing his mind, because nothing's happened since he indicated to me an intention that he's going to be standing at the next election. Look, what we are trying to do here is to have as great a pool and numbers of people, competent people that can contribute to Gibraltar's well-being, that can keep Gibraltar safe as possible. And we've brought in some excellent quality people: Robert Vasquez, Roy Clinton, Chris White. And going back, we've also brought in new people 2 years ago, Marlene, and also Elliot Phillips. And I'm very confident that we're going to be having a very competent, strong lineup at the next election.
You say that nothing has changed in the 2 months since Mr Bossino told you that he did intend to stand, but of course we've seen how Mr Hammond has adopted a much higher profile since then. It was he that accompanied you at the press conference to launch the Lloyd's Register report, and also when you went down to talk to residents in the Waterport area, it was he that went with you rather than Mr Bossino. Is it possible that Mr Bossino feels he's being rather sidelined?
Well, I'm glad that you asked the question, because it's been subject of speculation in GSOP supportive press. The reason why Mr Bossino was not at the press conference on the LNG was because he indicated to me that because his firm somehow were involved in some aspect of the LNG debate, or the people that were involved in the LNG debate, that he had a professional conflict and could not participate at that conference. That's the only reason. And look, in a political party, you have spokesmen for different areas. Trevor Hammond has been appointed as environmental spokesman for the GSD as a party. He's also the chairman, so he's a very senior figure within the GSD, and he is effectively the person that's working with me in relation to that. I'm working, for example, with Mr Bossino on producing positive policies in relation to employment, and I hope that we're going to be able to publish that within the next 2 weeks.
Okay, so it's not a case of Mr Hammond having become your right-hand man?
No, it's a question of right or left hand. Both Mr Hammond and Mr Bossino contribute in their own way. They have both been a source of judgment for me, and they have both helped me out, and indeed the party, in their own ways. Mr Hammond quite clearly is very involved in the LNG debate, and Mr Bossino has been working very hard in the background in relation to producing positive policies, because that's what I have said to you on many occasions that I want to push out, and we have pushed out positive policies in relation to employment and training, and I hope that it's going to be possible for us to publish those in the next couple of weeks.
I suppose you must be quite desperate for Mr Bossino to stay, because if he doesn't, it might well be just Mr Regis and yourself from the present lineup that are there at the election.
Well, if you ask me, unloaded, because the question is loaded, whether I would prefer to see Damon Bossino in the lineup, of course I would prefer to see Damon Bossino in the lineup. I mean, I've worked very well with him, and I value him both as a person and also as a professional. But at the end of the day, everybody's got to make their own decisions. I mean, politics is very difficult, Stephen. Politics is very difficult on the family. Politics is very difficult on the profession. And it's even more difficult, let me tell you, because I've experienced both, when you're in opposition than when you're in government. Because when you're in opposition, you've got to combine things. You've got to combine opposition politics, family, and you've got to combine your profession. So these are very difficult decisions that have got to be made.
And the prospect of another 4 years in opposition doesn't appeal.
No, well, the reality of this is that we could go into opposition, we could win the next election, but it's very difficult whether you're in opposition or government. And what I'm saying is that it's actually more difficult in opposition. The reality of this is that everybody has got to make their own decisions. Mr Bossino will have to make. I had to make a very difficult decision in 2011 when I had my entire family telling me, please don't stand. And I didn't want to leave the GSD on a lurch, because Peter Caruana told me, without you, we're more likely to lose. Look, I took that decision. Somebody else may take a different decision. I very much hope that Mr Bossino decides to stand, because I see him as an integral part of the team. But at the end of the day, it's his decision. He told me a couple of months ago that he was, and until he comes to me and he says, Daniel, I have changed my mind, I take Mr Bossino at his word.